Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh. A'udzubillahi ta'ala min syururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Innahu man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarika lahu wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma sholli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'du. About the article that I have published in Mimbar, the Russian Journal for Islamic Studies, about the constructing the theory about human potential, based on the Quranic study, based on the Maqasid methodology, or you can say the Quranic messages. First of all, I would like to make some disclaimer here. First, that this work actually, of course, it's not perfect. It's far from perfect. It means that this is an initiating effort, yeah, that you can use it as reference and you can evaluate, criticize, and maybe you can replicate or something like that to make it more comprehensive, yeah. And the second thing that I would like to say is that maybe for those who study, who used to Islamic studies, yeah, maybe kind of awkward with the terms that I'm using in this study. Actually, I am applying the principle of parsimony. So this is one of the principle of theory building, that when you construct a theory, you have to find the simplest way to the simplest term to use, so it's easy for other people to understand. It's the most familiar term, yeah, that is understandable by majority of the learner. And I would like to say also that the process of the study is actually quite messy, so do not expect that the study is clean and smooth. This is it needs some back and forth thinking, yeah, forward and backward thinking. You have to refer to many resources, yeah, and you have to go back to the Quran. You can start from the Quran and go, and then compare with the literature, and then go back again to the Quran and try to correlate, to make it coherent, try to make an argument that coherent with both the literature and the Quranic messages, yeah. So that's why this the process of the study is forward and backward at the same time, and therefore any question and critics is welcome. So don't hesitate to question and criticize anything that you think that doesn't make sense to you, yeah, because this is about how to make it understandable. That's why you can apply it scientifically and also in a practical terms, yeah. And for those who already learned about Tazkiyat Rabbi. Actually, this theory is one of the 7 approach in Tazkiyat Rabbi. So this is also related to Tazkiyat Rabbi. All right. The initial motivation, yeah, actually this is already included in the Maqasid approach methodology, yeah, that in the Maqasid methodology, we have 3 sources of evidence, yeah. So we refer to the surah number 41 of Fussilat, yeah, verse number 53, that Allah already show the signs, yeah, the evidence of any knowledge, yeah, in the universe, in the horizon, yeah, and in our souls, yeah, in our anfus, and those facts, those evidence, proof by the Quran, and give proof that the Quran is true. Yeah, so that's why if we apply Maqasid methodology, our source of evidence is not only one, it's not only empirical evidence, but also um, uh, based on human soul, the dynamics of human soul, and also the Quranic messages. So the Quranic messages will cover both the empirical evidence and also the dynamics of human soul. So these 3 sources of knowledge um, is coherent. Yeah. So I mean, the you call it the postulate, yeah, the postulate of the science, the Quranic science, the Islamic science, is that these 3 sources of knowledge has to be coherence. If you find something that is incoherence, so you have to use the Quranic message as the point of view, yeah, to understand what you can find in this universe, in this natural, phenomena, and also in your heart, in your soul. Yeah. For example, some trends in psychology, yeah, they talk about the essence of human is in the brain. So we have to criticize that. Why? Because that is not coherent with the Quranic message. So we have to uh, base ourselves uh, on the point of view of the Quran to validate any knowledge that is developed out there, yeah, because they should be coherent. If it's not coherent, it means that there is something wrong. And now the development of the new science shows that the role of the heart is getting stronger. I mean, like the evidence that the heart has the main role of human psychology, human behavior, and human thinking, and so forth, has become stronger. Yeah. So this is just an example. And also, for example, about the nature, yeah, some people say that the universe is eternal. That this is based on the Aristotelian philosophy, the materialism philosophy, and Al-Ghazali, the Imam Al-Ghazali, already criticized that in the Tahafut al-Falasifa, because that point of view is not coherent with the Quran, because the Quran said that this universe is not forever. There's going to be a doomsday, like those kind of things in general. So that's why we have to use all three sources of knowledge all together simultaneously and back and forth, to make sure that our knowledge is coherent. All right, now the other thing that we need to uh, apply in our endeavor to understand, to create knowledge, to develop knowledge, to construct theory, is that the first 5 ayat in the Quran that is revealed to the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is about science, it's about ilm, Iqra bismi rabbikal ladzi khalaqal insana min alaq, Iqra wa rabbukal akram alladzi alama bil qalam alamal insana ma lam ya'lam. So this is the main message of the Quran that we have to keep in mind, that we need to understand the sign, So these two ayat actually very basic, very fundamental in developing knowledge. Okay, now we go to the Maqasid methodology, as we might, I assume that all of you already familiar with this book, this is the 5-step of this approach. First, we have to have purpose, and then we have to do the cycle of reflection of the Quran and Hadith, and then we use the framework, the Maqasid framework, as a tool, to understand the message, the purpose, the message of the Quranic verses, so that we will gain knowledge, about what the Quran means, what the meaning of the message of the Quran. Okay, so this is the first step. And then we study the existing literature critically, to find any evidence that already found out there by the other scientists, researcher, and we criticize them, critically review them, to make sure that it is coherent with the message of the Quran. So this is similar with what I have said before. We have to make sure that the conclusion of the research that have been done is coherent with the message of the Quran. So that's why we have to we have to learn both sides, the Quranic message and also the literature, the existing literature, and critically analyze those. And we are using the Quranic point of view as as our position, to criticize the existing work, and then we can create a theory. We can formulate a theory, and principles. Then this should serve our purpose. This is the cycle. Okay, so this is the basic. And the framework is also important and helpful as a tool. So this framework will give us some kind of guide, on what we should look for, in the Quranic messages, so that we can um, we can understand the message. Yeah, it consists of 7 dimensions. Yeah, the concept itself, we have to understand the concept, the objective, the values, the command, universal law, the grouping, and the proof. Yeah, grouping and the proof. Actually, um, the Quran also contain proof, yeah, of the universal law that is mentioned in it. So, for example, the story about the previous ummah actually is the proof of the principle, and also the what do you call it? The illustration about the what it will happen in the future actually is also the proof of the universal law, the values or the command. Yeah. So that's why this is also a useful tool for us to understand the message of the Quran, so that we can uh, construct a theory. All right. So there are some basic assumptions that we need to keep in mind. Yeah. First, that the Quran is um, a multidimensional um, we call it multidimensional. Quran message has a multidimensional, yeah, nature. Yeah, this is written that it is a systematic and multidimensional. The Quran is systematic and multidimensional. Okay, so that's why we should understand all of the dimension of it. Yeah. So the framework also shows the multidimensionality of the Quran, and each dimension relate with each other. So that's why it's systemic. And then the second basic assumption is that the Quran communicate to the person, to the reader, yeah, and according with uh, the knowledge and the need of the reader. So that's why when when our knowledge increase and we read the Quran again, then we will get higher knowledge. Yeah. But if our knowledge is limited, and when we read the Quran, our understanding is only limited also. So it depends on our readiness. Yeah. Okay, and there's another one. The Quran is um, a universal message. Yeah, the Quran elevate a universal law. Yeah, the Quranic message will uh, guide us to understand universal law. So it's not partial. It's not just something that is local or partial. It's a universal law. Even though, for example, the asbabul nuzul actually is contextual, yeah. But the message is transformed into a universal law. Okay. All right. Now, when we try to understand uh, about human potential, first of all, we have to ask ourselves, so what is the core of human being? What is the essence of human being? And this is mentioned actually in the Surah An-Nisa, yeah, verse number 1, that Allah created human being from one nafs, nafsi wahidatun, meaning that nafs is the entity of or the identity of one human being. So the word nafs is very important to refer any human being. It's an individual. So that's why the word nafs has to be secured, have to be, we have to use the word nafs to explore about human being in the Quran, okay? Because we can use another term, but from this message, we understand that the essence of the human being is the nafs, yeah? And then we have this message in the Surah As-Sams, yeah? Wa nafsi wa ma sawaha. So Allah created the nafs and perfect it. It means that the nafs has a perfect potential. Okay, why we call this as potential? Because if we read other part of the Quran will explain about the groups of human being. You know, those who kafir, who's munafik, and but in here Allah mentioned that the nafs actually is perfect. How come a perfect nafs can become kafir or munafik or fasik and so forth? So by thinking about this, so we understand that the perfect one, the perfect refers to the potential. Okay, it's not refers to the condition, the temporary condition, but the potential is perfect. Okay, but then a human being as the nafs, when they live in this world, they go up and down and so forth and so forth. Yeah, but the potential is perfect. And actually, we can relate this to the concept of fitrah also. Yeah, Allah said that Allah created human being based on the fitrah, and the fitrah will never change. So, but what we observe in the evidence of in the human life, yeah, people change. Yeah, how come Allah said the fitrah doesn't change? So that also have a message that the one that doesn't change is the potential. Okay, the same thing as this one, because the potential can be unchangeable, but the manifestation of the potential can be changing. That's why in other verse, Allah also mentioned about tazkiyah. Tazkiyah is change for better, yeah, growing, developing, and so forth. Okay, so it doesn't mean that when something is perfect, it doesn't mean that it doesn't get better or it doesn't change over time. It's just this perfect thing is in the potential, and all human beings have the same potential. And the next ayat will explain more about this in Surah An-Nahl, verse number 78, yeah. Allah mentioned that when we are born from our mother, yeah, Allah make us doesn't know anything, okay? But then Allah give us, or it's like an endowment, give us hearing, sight, and fuad, afida. Fuad is also heart, yeah. Why? Why Allah give us this hearing and sight and afidah, so that we can be grateful, we can be shukr. In other verse, a lot of more than 10 verse here talking about this. For example, in Surah Tabarok Al-Mulk, it is mentioned that Allah gave the human being hearing, sight, and fu'ad, afidah, but only little of them grateful, only little number, of them being grateful, bersyukur. Okay, so this is the purpose. The purpose for us is to be grateful, but the reality is only only a few people, a few nafs that really are being grateful. And in another part of the Quran, also another message that Allah give human being hearing, sight, and fu'ad, but they don't show gratitude. They are not grateful. So that's why this is the hearing, sight, and fu'ad is given to all of us, all of human being, but not all of human being being grateful of this gift, of this endowment. So it means that the hearing, sight, and fu'ad actually is the potential, and it is perfect. But then not everybody is being grateful. So this is the issue, the issue between the perfectness of the potential and the problem of manifestation. Okay. Now from here, hearing and sight actually is quite clear. But when we talk about fu'ad, and earlier we talk about nafs, it is not quite clear. I mean, like, what is it? What does it contains? The fu'ad and the nafs. Actually, if we learn carefully in the Quranic verses, when Allah refers to qalb and fu'ad and nafs, they are the multidimensionality of the core of human being. For example, there's a verse about nafsul mutmainah, which is entitled to enter the heaven. But there's also qalbus salim is entitled to enter the heaven. And also ta'mainul kulub, mutmainah, but for kulub. So it means that qalb and nafs and fu'ad actually the multidimensionality of the human core, the core of human being, okay, the essence of human being. So therefore, in this ayat, Allah mentioned about the nafs, which is perfected, and in this ayat, Allah mentioned about fu'ad, which is also as the endowment of Allah that should be response with gratefulness. So this is the next question that we need to understand. We need to study. Okay. Now we can conclude. We can have a temporary conclusion that actually the essence of perfectness of human being actually is in the potential. The human potential is perfect. Allah created human being with a perfect potential. So this is the thing that we need to study. We need to construct the knowledge about this so that we know what are our potential, so that we can develop our potential, manifest our potential to become a better person. Okay. So human potential, when we talk about potential, it means that it's something that need to be grown, yeah, need to be developed. It's something that is potential. It's like a seed, yeah, need to be nurtured. So that's why it relates to the term taskia. Taskia is the the activity, the uh, intervention, the action, yeah, the action of nurturing and growing and purifying, the human soul. Taskiyatun nafs, yeah. So with this understanding, now we know that we can say that the what the task what we do, what we work on when we do taskia is to develop our potential, because this is what we need to nurture. Yeah. Okay. And if we go back, so what are our potential? What are this human potential? So we can go back to the Surah An-Nisa, verse number 1, that the first example of the nafs that has potential is the Prophet Adam. And we as a human being also called as Bani Adam. So that's why we should learn about our human potential from the creation of the Prophet Adam. Okay, so this is how we move forward. And if we summarize, the creation of the Prophet Adam, first, that Allah created the body, the jasad, first from clay. Yeah, the body was created first, and then Allah teach him about names. Yeah. Of course, Allah make him alive first, um, blowing the spirit to the body, and then Allah teach name, and Allah introduce the Prophet Adam to the angels and the devil. Yeah. And then Allah created the spouse and let the Prophet Adam and the spouse to enjoy the garden, yeah, the heaven, the garden. And that's the first part. Of course, we can continue further, but for our purpose today, I think it's enough until this part. Okay, now this is the Quranic verse that we can base on to conclude, yeah, this process of creation of the Prophet Adam. Yeah, Allah created with the body first, and then Allah what do you call it, teach about names, and Allah introduced him to the angels and the devil, and so on. Yeah, this is the verses. And now we can analyze. This is how we translate, yeah, the process of the creation of the Prophet Adam into a psychological theory. The first thing that is created is the body. Right? The body when it is alive, yeah, then it is it has senses like hearing and sight actually is the senses, yeah. And Al-Quran doesn't mention all the five senses because the most important senses is the senses that can connect with the truth and the message, yeah, of the truth. So that's why Allah only mention hearing and sight. So the first potential, the first endowment that is given to the Prophet Adam and also us, yeah, because the creation of the Prophet Adam and the creation of the Bani Adam actually are similar, yeah. And if we go back to the Surah Al-Alaq again, Allah also mentioned Iqra bismi rabbikal ladzi khalaq, khalaqal insana min alaq. So for the first, we have Allah asked us to learn about the creation of the embryo first. It's the body, the body, because the creation of the body is also a miracle. Yeah, I mean, like, it's complicated, it's very sophisticated. Yeah. All right, and it gives us the senses, and based on the medical science, yeah, the first sense that is developed in the mother's womb is the hearing. Okay, before the sight can function, the hearing will function first. So hearing, sight, and then afida. Okay, so we can conclude that the first potential that a human being have is sensing. Sensing is the potential based on senses. Okay, now the next step is the names. Yeah. So what does names mean? Names actually is symbol. Yeah. Names is a concept. So that's why when Allah teach the Prophet Adam names, it gives the Prophet Adam the ability to conceptualize things, and it's also the basic ingredients of language, and also it is the basic competence of intellect. Yeah, names, and that's why in conventional and traditional Islamic studies, they call it as akal. Yeah, when Allah teach the Prophet Adam about names, the early scholar conclude this as the creation of akal. But then when we look at the word akal in the Quran, it's never mentioned in the form of noun. It's always in the form of verb. Ta'akul, yeah. Ta'akul. So actually, akal is the activity of the heart. So akal is not an entity separate from the thought, but it is the activity of the heart. And actually, beside ta'akul, there is also tadabbur, tafakur, and other and 7 or 8, a discipline or function or faculties. Yeah. So that's why, again, as I mentioned before, I choose the word that can represent this idea, and the word is reasoning. Reasoning means the action of understanding the reason, the purpose, and also the meaning. Those who use their reasoning become a reasonable person, right? Reasonable is something that is good, yeah. So reasoning is the second human potential, if we are talking about sensing, actually it's only how human being receive information from the surrounding. But when you enter the reasoning, a free human being from any material things, because it involves concepts and ideas and so forth. So it's not only material, but sensing usually limited to a material thing, the surrounding. Yeah. So this is the difference. And then when the Prophet Adam introduced to the devil, the angels and the devil, then he learned about good and evil. Yeah, good and evil. And good and evil in a psychological term is morality. Okay. So the third human potential is the ability to differentiate between good and evil, which is called morality. But it doesn't stop here, because if we follow the concept of morality based on the conventional psychology, they 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 their opinion is that morality is relative to culture, right? So you don't have standard of morality. It depends on the culture, but that is not how the Quran is. That is not how the Quran uh, teach us about morality. We can refer this to Surah Al-Hujurat, verse number 13. Yeah, that Allah created man and woman, uh, tribes, yeah, different tribes, so that we can uh, learn from each other. Okay, that's the cultural dimension. But then the verse concluded with, but the most uh, noble, yeah, individual is the one who is the most taqwa. So that's another dimension of morality. So that's why morality has to be divided into two layers. Okay, there's cultural morality, and also, oh sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Okay, morality can be divided into two. The cultural one, which is empathy, so we can empathize with other people in different culture. But then there's morality that is divine, and this morality that is divine, it cannot be bargained, because this is applied to all human beings, include the taqwa, yeah, and also about the truth and tawhid and so forth. So that's why uh, we have sensing, reasoning, empathy, and conscience. So this is the four uh, basic potential of human being that are the faculties of the human heart, or the human fu'ad, yeah, or you can say the human nafs also, yeah, because nafs is also the soul. Heart, the soul, is actually referring to the core of human being. And human behavior or human freedom actually is the product of the dynamics of this potential. That's why freedom doesn't come from, sorry, it's the next slide. Freedom doesn't come uh, it doesn't come out of the blue. Yeah? So freedom is the radiation of these four human potential. This is another way to explain it, that the sensing is connection to the surrounding, uh, um, reasoning is connections to the meaning, empathy is connection to the other, soul, yeah, between souls, and conscience is the connection to Allah, yeah, and also all these um, the hereafter, yeah. Okay, so this is the behavior is the result of this potential and the behavior. And if people talk about freedom, independent will, freedom to choose, actually is in the behavior. So freedom is not the starting point. Freedom is the result of uh, the dynamics of human potential. So that's why we have to be critical when people talk about freedom, because when the conscience is dim, yeah, it's not strong, so their freedom will not doesn't come from their belief in Allah. Okay, so they say about freedom, but they don't believe in Allah. So that's a problem. And also, if there's no empathy, their freedom sometimes doesn't consider other people. Yeah, so that's another problem. And the worst thing that can happen to individual is when not even reasoning is working in their soul and their heart, so their behavior is only driven by their sensing. And sensing actually only seek for sensation, and also no reasoning, no meaning, no purpose, and so forth and so forth. So this is what I call as a sensing mentality. So this model can be used as a diagnosis tool to understand disease in the heart. Yeah. So sensing mentality is one of the disease of the heart. Okay, I think that's all. So we can have a question and answer. I give back to Brother Bilal. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wallahu alam bisawab.
Jazakallah khair, Dr. Bagus, for your insightful and thought-provoking lecture again. We extend our deepest gratitude for your time and for your wisdom here that you gave. And for everyone else here, thank you for your engagement and your question and for sharing your thoughts here. Your presence is what makes all of this more meaningful, and we're grateful to have all of you here.